Hi, boys and girls. I'm your Peter Pan storyteller. And when you hear this sound, turn the page. Let's begin. Thundercats, the Mutants Alliance. The Thundercats had crash-landed on a small planet that seemed able to support their kind of life. But much hard work would have to be done before they could call it home. Panthro was unloading heavy machinery from their wrecked spaceship.
Lionel,
He called.
give me a hand with this.
It didn't look like much fun to the young prince.
Well, maybe it would be better if I scouted the area while you're doing that. It's my responsibility to make sure we're in a secure position here.
But we need all the help we can get.
No, Lion-O is right.
Tigra cut in.
The surrounding territory should be reconnoitered, and as Lord of the Thundercats, his responsibility is our safety.
Lionel's faithful old friend Snarf came bounding up.
Yeah, right.
He exclaimed,
I'll go with you.
I don't need a nursemaid anymore. Try to get that through your head, Snarf.
Seeing his crestfallen look, Tigra said,
Come, Snarf. You're still needed. We can sure use your help here.
Sure.
The hairy little creature came slinking back.
Nobody even knows I'm around unless there's work to be done.
Take the claw shield and the sword of omens, Lion-O.
Said Tigra.
You may need to summon us.
Oh, I think I'll be able to handle anything that comes along.
Nevertheless, the young lord took the fabulous weaponry that was handed to him and swaggered off. Meanwhile, the enemy mutants were flying low over the same planet called Third Earth, looking for whatever creatures might live there. Jackalman pointed suddenly to the telescreen, which showed crumbling temples and pyramids below.
Architecture of a sort.
But in ruins.
Said the Monkeyan.
So there was some kind of civilization on this ridiculous pebble of a planet.
We have no time to ponder that now.
The reptilian Slithe warned the other two sharply.
If I know the Thundercats, they will lose no time in building an impregnable fortress. We too must establish a base. So look for a likely spot to build Castle Plunder. Yes? Up ahead.
Barked Jackalman.
A desert, most likely, and something else.
Their spaceship slowed and hovered over a strange black pyramid and tall, tapering shafts like stone figures pointing skyward. Lightning crackled from their tips.
What's that thing?
Monkeyan chattered nervously. All three stared fearfully at the telescreen.
No primitive life form constructed it, that's certain.
Hissed Slithe.
Yes, I don't like the looks of it.
Muttered Jackalman.
Let's get as far away from it as we can.
But as their spaceship started to lift and cruise onward, the lightning flashed and exploded more brilliantly than ever. The ship rocked. Sparks burst from the control panel.
What's happening?
The controls aren't responding.
We're falling.
The mutants hissed and yelped and chattered in terror as their cruiser plunged to Earth. To their amazement, they were still alive. At last, they ventured out of their crippled spacecraft.
I see no enemy about,
said Slithe.
Then what caused us to crash?
Lightning crackled again from the pointing stone obelisks.
There's the cause,
exclaimed Jackalman. The reptilian snarled and hissed in fury.
Nothing, no being or thing thwarts Slithe. Come, yes.
The others hesitated as he slunk toward the Black Pyramid.
Is that a good idea? You're afraid, Jackalman? And you call yourself a mutant? We are the fear makers, not the ones who fear.
Jackalman plucked up his spirits.
By plunder, you're right, Slythe. Lead on.
Look!
The monkey's eyes widened as he pointed a trembling paw. A doorway had suddenly opened in the smooth black pyramid.
Enter.
Boomed a hollow voice from the tomb.
Arm yourselves.
Slythe hissed to his companions. But the voice went on.
Your weapons are not needed. You are welcome here. Follow the ball of light.
A glowing greenish ball appeared. It led the mutants through a musty, spider-webby passageway, past walls carved with hieroglyphics and weird symbols.
Where are you?
Monkeyan asked the invisible speaker.
Who are you?
Jackalman added.
You shall soon see.
Scarab beetles scurried along beside them, and bats squeaked overhead. At last, they came to a room containing a large bubbling cauldron. Beyond it, they could see a mummy case and 4 statues of human figures with animal heads. The mummy case was standing upright.
What's that thing?
Said Jackalman.
It looks like some kind of casket.
Slythe frowned and looked around.
But where is he who bid us enter? I see nothing alive.
The mummy case began to glow and shimmer, and the lid flew open. Inside stood an ancient hooded figure.
As long as evil exists,
It replied.
Mum-Ra lives.
It spoke in the same hollow, echoing voice they had heard before. The mutants stared in awe.
What manner of being are you?
Asked Slythe.
You need only know that I am Mum-Ra, and that I know of your mission here on Third Earth. You seek to possess the Eye of Thundera.
You know of the Eye of Thundera? Yes?
I have known of its power for 1,000 years.
Mum-Ra pointed upward to an opening in the top of the pyramid, through which they could glimpse the night sky dotted with stars and constellations.
From a time when this was still First Earth.
Even if this is so,
Snarled Jackalman.
what makes you think we need your help?
The eyes of Mum-Ra seemed to blaze out from beneath the hood of his cloak.
You mock my power?
He lifted his arms, and lightning crackled from his fingertips. The whole pyramid rumbled with a sound like distant thunder, shaking dust down on their heads. But the mutants were not impressed. Sneered the Monkeyan.
The communication module on our ship hasn't been damaged. We can call in the other mutant ships and have them blast this place to powder, and you, Mum-Ra, with it. Come, see your ship, foolish creatures.
He beckoned them to the huge cauldron. Through its boiling vapor, they could see their spacecraft, which had crash-landed outside the pyramid. As they watched, it sank out of sight, and the desert sands closed over it. The Monkeyan screeched in alarm.
Our ship, gone forever.
Gloated Mum-Ra.
Along with the hope of ever summoning any other mutant ships, you are now stranded on Third Earth, and without Mum-Ra, you perish.
Slythe and his partners huddled together fearfully.
What do you think?
Chattered Monkeyan.
Do we have a choice?
Said Jackalman.
We have to go along with him. Yes, for now.
Slythe hissed with an evil smile.
Even shared,
Mumra pointed out.
there is power enough in the Eye of Thundera for all of us.
Sure, there is, Mumra.
The reptilian agreed slyly.
It's only right that we share.
And his cohorts chimed in.
Slythe speaks for all of us.
We're with you, Mumra.
Their false smiles did not fool Mumra. He knew what kind of double-crossers he was dealing with, but he too could be cunning.
Yes, I am pleased to see that you are so agreeable.
He murmured smoothly and raised his arms.
Look into the cauldron once more. You will see where the Eye of Thundera is to be found.
It's Lion-O.
Cried Slythe. Mumra nodded.
Yes, the Lord of the Thundercats.
He carries the sword, but where is he? That we may ambush him.
Slythe added with a crafty grin.
Mumra will transport you.
As the hooded figure raised his arms, there was a buzzing, crackling sound. The three mutants became transparent, then disappeared. Lion-O was scouting the jungle near the Thundercats' camp. From a high knoll, he spied a mother gazelle and her calf. Now, boys and girls, turn the recording over.